All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Pin High Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Golf Show. If you haven't followed us on Instagram yet, it's at Pin High Philly. That is at Pin High Philly. I'm Francesca, and I'm actually really excited about today's guest. Not like I haven't been in the previous episodes we've done with other people we've interviewed, but today's guest is somebody who is going to get everybody ready for this year's golf season. And um, he's a busy guy, so we're really grateful for his time. He's someone who is deeply woven into the Philadelphia golf scene. He's a Class A PGA professional at Philadelphia Cricket Club. What a fine establishment that place is, and was just named head coach of the Drexel University golf program as of, I believe, 2025. So if you care about getting better this year, this is a great conversation and a great person to tune into and listen to. Scott Yurgalevicz, welcome to Pin High Philly.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Did I got your last name right? That's how you say it, Yurgalevicz?
That was perfect.
Yes?
It's very hard.
Oh,
Yes. My children struggle with it, but yes, that was perfect.
okay. Well, if they struggle with it, then I don't feel as bad. And what is that? That's Polish, right?
Polish, yes.
Okay. You got any Italian in you? You have to. Like,
E-
I mean,
Mother's maiden name was Russo, so I'm about 50% Italian.
I knew it. I knew it. It's either Polish Italian, Irish Italian, right? Mike knows that and knows a thing or two about that as well. No, listen, again, thank you so much for your time. I'm really excited about today's interview. And now, for listeners who might not know you yet, how do you usually explain what you do specifically in golf?
Yeah, I guess the easiest way to describe it is I'm a bit of a Swiss Army knife of golf instruction and coaching. For the last about 10 or 12 years, I've been a college golf coach. I'm currently at Drexel University, fantastic spot over in the city. Previously, I was at LaSalle University, and I coached the men's and women's teams there. And then alongside with that, I'm also a golf instructor. So I've had the pleasure of being at Philly Cricket Club for, I think this is my sixth or seventh season. Been at some other places too that are great, Lulu, DuPont Country Club, Ocean Reef Club down in Key Largo, Florida. So I've kind of seen quite a bit of things, and I'm just very happy to be at the two establishments I'm at right now, and they're fantastic.
I love that. Now, it sounds like you wear a lot of hats. Obviously, college coach, PGA professional, instructor. Which role do you feel defines you the most right now with your golf career?
I would say that's actually a really tough question. I would say the college coaching. There's something so gratifying about like watching these players grow up from like essentially kids into adults, watching them grow into their golf games and go through all the trials and tribulations of like college and becoming an adult and all the things that go along with that. Not saying that like just coaching golfers isn't gratifying, but
Yeah.
it's you kind of get to be a part of something special in a team, especially when golf's a very individualized sport. It's having a team is pretty interesting for an individual sport. And if I recall, I think you might have played some college golf, so you know exactly what that's like.
I well, yes, I did, and I do, and let's stay on that for a second. It takes a special kind of coach to allow yes, golf is an individual sport, like you said, but it takes a special kind of person and coach to have everybody be coached at their best on an individual level in order to come up with a good, solid composite team score. And I did a year down at Towson University, and obviously I did play golf in high school with four girls, and our girls golf team won the PIAA state champion. This was like back in 2010, but it does take a special kind of person, and that
Yeah.
can actually make or break a golfer's individual experience, honestly.
Yeah, you really need to kind of control personalities and some tempers on the golf course. And as five players playing as a team, it's like you can sense when someone's not playing well, but you have to make sure everyone is on their best game that day, and just try to manage whether it's tempers or attitudes or demeanors, because everyone feels it, and I'm sure you know exactly what that's like. So that's all we're trying to do, just manage people.
Yeah. Oh boy, do I know that. Let me ask you, at what age do you start looking at potential recruits for Drexel?
So
What's recruitment life like right now with parents too? If parents tuning
yeah,
into their
so I would say the best way to describe it is we have rules and regulations, throughout the NCAA. So I can start to physically talk to the recruit. I think it's about June going into their junior year. So that's when I can actually respond back properly to an email. But that doesn't mean I can't receive an email from a player as a freshman or a sophomore. And I just collect all their information and kind of compile it and just kind of keep tabs on them. And like the parents do get involved a little bit, but like most of the time I want to see and hear from the player themselves. It gives you a good understanding of like, do you have a helicopter parent that wants to do all the work, or is this a player that actually is going to do the work for themselves and develop, at a greater rate than the helicopter parent child?
Mm. Oh, and do you have experience coaching a girls' team as well?
I do. LaSalle had a women's golf team. They started it like my first year there. And it's
Okay.
just, again, it's two very different types of teams. Like a men's team is a little different than a women's team. And like, you were on a women's golf team. Like sometimes there's a little more drama and, it is what it is. And sometimes the boys just want to just get the work in and then they're buddies
Okay.
afterwards, right? So, just internal competitions are a lot different between those two teams.
This is very, very true. And I have experience playing on both a men's and women's team. Obviously, in high school, when I was a junior and sophomore, we didn't have enough girls to create a girls' golf team. Um, so no, that's really interesting. How many girls were on the LaSalle team when you coached?
It depended year to year, so it could have been anywhere from 7 to 8 to 9 players. That's kind of the
Okay.
sweet spot for any golf team. Like, when you
That's a
go playing
lot, actually.
qualifiers, I know
Yeah,
you kind of want like two
that's actually a lot.
foursomes or three
Right.
threesomes, and yeah, that was plenty.
You're a local guy. You graduated from Villanova?
I did. So graduated from Villanova in '08, and I'm from
Okay.
Northwest Connecticut originally. So detracted down
Oh.
here, and then married four daughters. So we're gonna slowly get them into golf at some point and make our own golf team.
I was just gonna say, how old is your oldest?
She is in fourth grade, so she's 10.
Okay. Okay. So we've got time for you to create your own little
Oh yeah.
group of state championships over there. I love it. At what point did you realize, I guess, coaching and teaching were going to be your path instead of playing professionally? Did you ever consider
That
that?
yeah, I mean, so when I was done with Villanova, I got into the golf industry. And
Okay.
some of you might know, but like you start as like kind of either a bag room person or an assistant pro, and you just kind of work your way
Right.
up. And so I was, at Radnor Valley with like one of the best mentors, George Forster over there,
Okay.
local legend. And I was folding shirts and doing the normal stuff, and I was like, this just isn't that much fun. I was like, I started doing junior camps and teaching some lessons here and there, and I was like, this is it. So believe it or not, I actually quit that job and literally
Okay.
taught at a local driving range in Manayunk for like 5 years and just really like figured out my craft. Like I was doing $30 golf lessons and just working my tail off.
Wow.
Hmm.
There is that driving range still in Manayunk? I feel like I
It's
went
it was
there
on
once upon a
it was
time
on
ago.
Umbria Street, and it's no
Yeah.
longer there. Yeah.
It's no longer there. Okay. I've been
Yeah.
there a few times too. Oh my
Yep.
gosh. Wow. What drew you, I guess, to the Philadelphia area for golf being, because we tapped into your history a little bit. You're obviously from Connecticut. Why Philly? And you were in Florida too. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's a valid question.
So, I mean, when I went to Villanova, I loved Philadelphia. It was like the
Right.
perfect mix of, where I'm from in Connecticut, there's not much going on. There's no place to work really, unless you're like, my father was a firefighter, my mom was like a nursery school teacher. There's not a lot of places to do what you want to do there. And this was just the perfect matchup. And, if you're going to be a golf pro, I mean, you can't ask for a better selection of places to potentially work. And, now I'm at Philly
Wow.
Cricket, and I mean, I couldn't ask for a better location, facilities, boss, membership. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I guess I chose the right place.
How good does Philly Cricket Club? They have a junior program, I would
Yes.
imagine, of some
Yep.
level. Yes. How?
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. No, you're good. I was just gonna ask, at what age do you recommend for the parents listening and tuning in, should they start getting their kids involved in the sport? I got into it when I was
Mhm.
11, 12, and I'm a 4 handicap today. I feel like it's changing now. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, so we start them as early as I think like four. We have like peewees, and one of the other coaches, Todd, does a great job with the peewees. He's a younger guy, lot more
Mhm.
energy than me at this point, and so he does a great job with that. And we just kind of build them up, and we start them at that level, and then we work through like the Op 36 program, which teaches them how to putt, and then work their way back incrementally from the putting green all the way back to the tee
Mhm.
box. And I mean, we do that for like the juniors at that age. We have like a great ladies, we call it like a skills academy, that we do the same thing with them. And it's great to just kind of turn non-golfers into golfers. Doesn't matter if it's, a 4-year-old or a 40-year-old
Sure.
new female golfer. It's just fun to see the development and kind of do it the right way.
I love it. And what are some of the goals that these young kids have for their games, or even the parents of these young kids wanting to maybe take it to the next level, probably at a collegiate level?
Yeah, so I mean, like you'll see the development from elementary school to middle school, and that's when you start to see, them start to specialize a little bit. I always love to see like my athletes have multiple sports, basketball, soccer, golf. But once they start getting to high school, you can see the kids that really like develop differently, hit the ball further, start shooting under par scores, and as the coach at Drexel, like I really like to see occasionally, like you might play poorly, but can you shoot
Mhm.
66, 67? Once you know how to do that, my job is to facilitate that more frequently and maybe eliminate more of the 78s from your repertoire. So, like, that's my job as the coach at the collegiate level. And so, like, I need to see some of that prior to, them getting to college. And a great story. Like, when I was at LaSalle, I recruited this one player, Kevin, who actually is on my team now
Mhm.
at Drexel. And he wasn't the highest rated recruit. Like he shot a couple really good under par scores, and I said my job with him is like, can I just facilitate better playing with him? In the first round of golf he ever played for me, he shot the NCAA record as a freshman and shot 61. So something clicked, and
Wow.
that's yeah, that was absolutely wild. He's the
What?
best. hmm 61, 10 under par, and had a chance. He was about that far away from a 60, which would have been like the eighth 60 in college golf history. hmm So he shot the lowest round as a freshman ever in his first round of college
Wow.
golf.
Wow. Why do
Uh
you think he
huh.
was the lowest, you said the lowest recruit or least likely to get recruited? Why do you
Yeah,
think
so
that
he
is?
wasn't very highly recruited, and sometimes you
Okay.
have to see like what is the potential there, and like he played in some events and shot a couple, I call them red numbers, but he shot a couple under par scores, and I was like, this kid gets it. Like you can tell, and he won the event that I watched him play in, and I was like, I think he's gonna be special, and it just turned out
Mm.
that he was. So sometimes you get it right.
Wow. What does that look like though? Like walk me through that because
The round of
you know,
61.
well, the special that special potential that you were just mentioning, like what does that look like as a coach? Because let's just say maybe he carded like a 74, 75, the
Yeah.
tournament that you were there, but he's got the potential. What does that look like?
So there's certain things, especially when you watch like a recruit, like the demeanor is everything. Like I could go up to Kev and I wouldn't know if he's shooting 10 under or 10 over. It's always just the same
Right.
expression, and he's very unfazed by any adversity. Like it's just always the same deadpan look and just how you doing, Kev? Good, coach. You'd never know it. And like, it's funny that
Mm.
round that he shot, I went up to him like, "How you doing, bud?" And he gives me like a 3. And I'm like, "Oh, you're 3 over." He's like, "No, coach, I'm 3 under." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I see him again later and he's like 5 under par. And I'm like, "I'm going to stay out of your way." It's kind of like when somebody's shooting like, throwing a perfect game. And I see him on the 18th
Right,
hole
right,
and
right.
I just watched it happen. And you've got to have the ability to compartmentalize like your emotions, especially in golf. Like it's the moment you get a little too
Mm.
high or a little too low is when
Mhm.
things go sideways.
This is very true. I'm just okay. It's so fascinating to me because I want to know what does their golf swing look like versus somebody like I'm consistently mid 70s, mid high
Hmm.
70s. I know my golf swing. When you look at somebody like his golf swing, is it really about, I guess, the overall technique? Is it what's in between the ears? What differentiates a high 70s golfer from someone who's shooting under par? Help me out, coach. My
So I would say,
goodness.
I would say a lot of the swings aren't that much different. Like everyone's got a little nuance to
Right.
their swing. But like something that Kevin does really well is he's very like rock solid between we call it like P6 and P9, like halfway back, halfway through. And like he's very consistent there.
Mhm.
Like all the best players are pretty much in the same place. So whether you're Jim Furyk, whose arms are all over the place, or Tiger Woods, they're always pretty
Right.
consistently the same through the golf ball. And Kev does the same, and like Kev plays the best golf when he's doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, and it's just and all my good players, all the players at Drexel, they're all very high level golfers, and they all do the same thing, and we just touch up some nuance when we need
Mhm.
to, but it would be that, and then
Yeah.
also course management. Course management is probably the
Okay.
biggest thing most players need to work on. I would say I was with a tour pro at the Truist a while back and kind of asked him some questions, and he just said, like, I just hit the same golf shot over and over and over again. And I asked him, like, do you ever try to like cut it into the? He's like, not really. He's like, I know I'm really good at this one thing, and I'm only gonna do
Mhm.
the other thing when I need to. And like if I have to go around something or really need to hold it up against the wind. But he's like, I don't practice that all the time. So yeah,
Okay,
we were
what
very
does good
spoiled. Yeah, we were very spoiled
No,
watching Tiger Woods hit every shot
we
imaginable.
were. We we were
Yeah,
absolutely spoiled. When you said, what does good course management look like? Because to me, that sounds like very
yeah.
conservative golf. When I play my most
It,
conservative
mm,
round, it's boring, but like I'm pumping out like a 74 or a 75.
yeah.
I don't know.
Uh-huh. I would say like so we use a couple like really technical things. One is called decade
Okay.
golf. And it's just a very simple way of understanding course management. So,
Okay.
if you're standing on a hole, and I know Tallamore, that's where like LaSalle used to practice, so very tight, right? So we're standing there with the driver on the tee box and we assess like, hey, how big is the fairway and how big is everything else away from the fairway? How much of a space do we
Mhm.
have between out of bounds stakes? So on like 18 at
Okay.
Tallamore, you've got driving range left, water left, excuse me, driving range right, water left.
Right.
It's probably inside of like 50 yards. That's not a big spot if you're hitting a 300-yard drive. So we would kind of crank it back, eliminate the water. So you're just always making these very informed decisions. And then once you get to like approach shots, what we would do, there's a little
Mhm.
like, they'll call it like a little like calculation you can make. So if I've got a 150-yard shot, I'm gonna make sure I'm a certain distance inside the edge of the green. So if the green is a circle and it's I don't know a 30-yard wide circle, my actual target might only be a 20-yard circle inside of the green. So you're almost erasing most of the green and hitting the middle of the green more frequently
Mhm.
with maybe a little bit of variance left and right. You're just kind of allowing yourself to screw it up and then still be okay.
No, I mean, these are this is like legit though. These are things that I mean, what I fear a lot of amateurs when, especially when they're beginning, they just go up to the tee box and they're praying they hit a good shot. So
Yes.
there's really like little to no strategy. And whenever I get asked, what is like the best piece of advice you could give me for this golf season, I literally am instructing people to go ahead and go out and play the most conservative round of your life, see what you shoot, and then go from there.
Yeah.
Um, that's so interesting. Let me ask you this. We're in an era right now, obviously everything's digitized. Social media, YouTube golf is just like it's everywhere. What are your two questions for you? One, what did you think of the Internet Invitational? And two, when you talk to other golfers who are probably on your team or they're maybe getting into the game, some of your students, and they're saying, "Yo, coach, I saw something on social media, wanted to go out and try it." What's your take on all of that? People pulling inspo from social
Yeah.
media and on digital instruction.
So the first thing I'd say is I created a YouTube page and I have the utmost respect for anyone putting out any content. It is a lot of work. So
It is.
kudos to anyone that's making stuff, and you know how hard it is to even just put yourself out there and be on camera. It's
There
unbelievably
you
difficult
are.
to do. And I mean, I'm looking at this like video you're playing. I edited everything painfully myself for hours, and it.
It's
So,
great. It's not painful. It's great.
but yeah, I mean, I think the internet golf like fad is. I think it's great. I know Josh Kelly,
Yeah.
like the trick shot guy, and I played some golf with him at Philly Cricket before he played an
Mm.
internet invitational, and I think it's great for the game. It's you gotta grow the game somehow, and these guys are doing it, and it's very it's entertaining, right? Like I mean,
Hmm.
it's fun to watch. There's some pretty good golf there, like is it Brad Dahlke, and like these guys are good golfers. Some are more entertaining than anything else, but I would say when a student comes to me in terms of instruction, what I kind
Mm.
of have them pre-programmed to just send me the link and have them ask me, does this apply? And so
Okay.
sometimes it does. Like there are some really, really good golf instructors online. A lot of them are my friends. And as long as the info is somewhat appropriate for the student, I have no issue with it. And I just ask them just clear it with me. Just like make sure you
Hmm.
just don't start working on something between lessons that just isn't something you need. So, we don't
Hmm.
want to we don't want to just kind of harp on things and then have a different problem a week later.
I love it. And then what were your thoughts on the Internet Invitational, the Barstool Sports
Oh yeah,
Internet
I
Invitational?
I loved it. I honestly I don't watch a ton of internet golf, but I actually did sit there and watch all of those episodes, and it
Yeah.
was entertaining, right? Like I don't watch a ton of PGA Tour golf, but I did sit there and watch all 4 or 5 hours, whatever that was, just over the span of a handful of weeks. But it was like,
It,
man, I enjoyed it.
it was
Like
so entertaining.
yeah.
Yeah. You just said you don't watch a whole lot of tour golf?
I don't. I mean, so generally I'm working on Saturdays and Sundays, and I'll watch the Masters, I'll watch like the majors, and then
Okay.
most of the other events I just don't get around to. I wish I had time to sit on the couch, but with 4 kids running around, and it's just try to find some time to spend with them occasionally.
No, this is true. And I don't have kids, but maybe one day. Let me ask you this. Speaking of the tour, which pro tour player, either male or female, and or do you appreciate, like what golf swing? Whose golf swing do you appreciate the most? Who's got the best golf swing on tour right now?
Uh, So this will be a very biased answer. I've spent some time with Justin Rose,
Do it.
and his
Yeah.
caddy and his trainers, and
Oh yeah.
he's the best. Like
Lovely.
he's like a fine wine. His swing just gets better with age. Absolute gentleman. We were out there he let me walk the practice round with him inside the ropes, and we chatted about things. And his swing is just
Wonderful.
so normal. Like there's nothing wild or crazy. He does a lot of things great, and that's why he's been so good for so long. So, and he loves
Yeah.
Philadelphia. So it's whenever he comes back here, he's always excited. So I always try to link up with him.
Oh, that's awesome. What?
Yeah.
I mean, having a conversation on the golf course with Justin Rose, what non-golf things did you guys talk about that you care to share?
Let's see. I mean, he talked. I think the coolest thing was he always brings here in the States. He brings like a trailer, like a motorhome with him, but not to live in. So it's like and they brought me
Oh,
inside of it. They parked it off one of the holes, and like we hopped the fence, and like we went inside. He's got an espresso bar. He's got
oh,
like
that's cool.
like a sauna, a hot tub, a cold plunge, a red light therapy bed. Like it was an unbelievable. I had no idea the extent that like these guys go
Hmm.
to keep their bodies in shape, and like it's he explains, he's like, it's just necessary, right? Like I guess as we all get a little older, you need a little bit more recovery
Yeah,
time, and I think that was it was pretty cool to see some like a little insight into how they operate.
that's actually really cool. Over at Drexel, do you have anything remotely close to that for your golf team
Yeah, so I
resources?
mean,
Because I'll say this. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, we have a full training
I
room. The staff is great. They have cold plunges, hot tubs, and then we have an indoor facility, right? So we have a simulator, launch monitors, putting green, like locker. We're actually, I mean, our office per se is like in the middle of like the DAC. Like it's right there at the heart of campus, and it's fun. I
Oh,
go in
cool.
there, and the guys are all hitting balls every single day, and just grinding through combines and working on stuff. So yeah, we have plenty. If you're a recruit and you're of the right age and you want to reach out to me, just let me know.
Right. No, love that. I absolutely love that. I just had a flashback of how I wrapped up a workout with my golf team at Towson. Now, this was 2010, 2011, and the only thing that we had access to was a chocolate milk vending machine. That we didn't really the recovery, the health, you know, even when I was playing in high school, it was just like you go out and you play, and our home course was look away at CB East, but like I would eat like big Texases, like cheese puffs. I don't know. We weren't really prioritizing health. And now kids are taking creatine. I didn't know what creatine was in high school. I mean, I think that has I don't know. There's an evolvement with the collegiate athlete is what I'm noticing. So to
Yeah, I
speak.
mean, we meet with a nutritionist. She's fantastic. Like they make like certain like whether they're protein bars or they make some of that stuff in house. They meet with the
What?
team and yeah, and they try to like, hey, what do you need? Do you need like any kind of electrolytes for the golf course? What do you guys? I mean, it's honestly,
Oh my
you
gosh.
think, Alabamas of the world, like it's not that much different at a Drexel. Like we're a big time
Yeah.
school, but a little, in a little pocket of the city, and they do a phenomenal job there, making sure the athletes are taken care of.
Love that. What is your guys' home course?
We are at Green Valley.
Oh, that's an amazing course. I
They
love Green
are
Valley.
awesome
Shout
to
out to
us.
Green Valley. That is awesome. I have a couple more questions for you. I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
So for golfers, we're going into the new golf season.
Yep.
It's going to start getting warmer, in maybe the next month or so. For golfers trying to break 90, give me one, two, however you want to take it, solid pieces of advice for a golfer whose goal is it this season to break 90.
Okay, so I will give you the all-encompassing answer to this. So every golfer is
Pay
really
attention,
only ever
guys.
really every golfer is only really trying to do three things. And so like it doesn't matter if you're a new golfer or a experienced golfer, those three things would be
Mhm.
can we strike the ground in the same spot every time? So if you're a beginner or your ability to contact the ball, right, with the club working through the golf ball and obviously having a divot, right, in front of the golf ball, that would be ideal. So if you're having contact problems, you're topping it or
Mm.
chunking it, we have what we call it a low point problem. And then as you would advance through that, the next thing would be do you hit the ball far enough, right? So you can hit the ball, but if you only hit your driver 100
Mm.
yards, golf's no fun. So we would work a little bit on speed training, and then the last piece would be, can you control the curvature of your golf ball? And like that's when you start becoming like a tour pro, and you're going, oh well, I need to control the ball flight. Instead of it drawing
Okay.
30 yards, I want to draw it 5 yards. And so, I would say most 90 players, contact is the biggest problem. So I have a few drills, probably somewhere on like Instagram. I think I even saw it on there earlier. Even just drawing like a
Mm.
line on the dirt or having a piece of tape on the mat, placing the ball a little bit in front of it, and just practicing hitting the ground. Exactly, right there. Hitting the ground in front
There
of
it
the
is.
line. This one might actually be the bad version. And then you're going to see me
Okay.
hit a couple in front of the line. That's the
Got
basis
it.
for good.
Yeah.
It's the basis for good golf.
Okay.
And, a lot of the iron shots will look like that. And luckily, I didn't hit the line on any of those. Um, and the same thing applies to the driver, but the driver's further forward in your stance, and you just don't hit the ground. The bottom of the
Sure.
swing will be further back. But yeah, I think a lot of punch
Yeah.
shots, three-quarter shots, and finding the ground effectively is probably the number one thing to shooting, into the 80s and into the 70s.
Hmm.
That's usually the biggest thing is general contact.
Okay. So for contact, for a
Yep.
golfer who wants to go and practice good contact on the driving range, you recommend they put a piece of like some kind of marker on the mat and
Yep.
they can drill out good contact that way.
Yeah, another
Yeah.
couple ways I would do it is sometimes I place a tee down and just kind of point it towards where the club is, and so the tee would be here. And I just tell them like, hey, like let's work on hitting the tip of that tee. We'll do it a few times. The
Okay.
tip of the tee is very small, right? The golf ball is pretty big compared to the tip of the tee. It looks like magic, but when you put the ball directly, like behind the tee,
Mm.
and you tell the person like, hey, just still try your best to hit the tee, the task changes and they're like, oh, the ball's there, it'll get in the way. They hit the tee and the ball shoots off the face and goes flying. They're like, oh my God, that was magic. It's just, if you find different ways to look at it and like kind of evolve, it makes it a lot easier. So do the easy stuff. Sometimes you could put a couple ball markers down, like those really flat ones you stick. Hit those. Just find something difficult to put down, hit it a few times, get used to it, and put the ball down after that.
All right. Now, for golfers trying to break 80 consistently, what would you tell them?
I would say putting, chipping, short game, course management.
Ooh. The three. Putting, chipping, course management. Did you guys get that? Putting, chipping, and course management.
I'll elaborate on like the one here. So putting. As a college coach, we work on putting constantly. And the number one thing, there's only two real things you need to know in putting is the break, so how to aim your putt, and the speed. Most people can aim the putter somewhere in the right direction for the most part. Okay. The big struggle is people that three putt the most, and this is what holds you back from shooting in the 80s and the 70s, is the speed. So most people either hit it much too far or much too short, and that creates the three putts. And so one of the things I like to tell people is think of it this way, give yourself like a 10% rule. If you have a 10-foot putt, you should be, and it's difficult, you should be able to hit that putt within 1 foot of the total distance. So a 10-foot putt, you hit it within 1 foot of the hole. 20-foot putt, can you give yourself 2 feet? And generally speaking, I'm not saying 2 feet away from the hole, so here's the hole, 2 feet. I'm saying 1 foot short, 1 foot long. So there's your 2 feet. And then 30 feet, 1.5 foot in front and 1.5 foot behind the hole. So I'm the hole. So now every putt you have is going to be inside of 1 foot or 2 feet. And that's how you're going to judge your dispersion in terms of like long to short. And if you look at it that way, that's a much easier way to putt, because most people want, oh, I've got a 25-footer, I want to get it to the hole. Like, yeah, it's great, but if you hit it 4 feet by, and now if you're playing real golf, you have to putt it, and that 4-footer is pretty tough.
Yeah, especially when you have another 4 foot, like there's a giant break with that 4-footer. Forget it. You're gonna 3-putt it. Mike, do we have my swing? Scott, can you look at my golf swing for me?
Yeah, we should be in for a treat. Here we go.
Okay, so this is at the Lower State driving range. I put this in slow-mo. Here's my takeaway. I had a minor casting problem, but this is with my gap wedge right here. So we got that view right there. Bottom that
There's
up.
A lot of good stuff
going on.
Not bad,
right? It's not bad.
Not bad at all, no.
Okay, good. I like to hear that. I like to hear that. And then here we have, from the other POV, this is obviously at Talamore.
That's a pretty...
I do see we got a little stay there, but...
That side's actually very good. Like, the other side needs a little bit of tidying up, but, I mean, the arms need a little bit of work.
Let's pull that back up. Thank you. Yeah. Here we go. Right here. What do we got to clean up, Scott?
So we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop here first. Go back. If you go back to address, ready? Like, so the one thing I would say is, there we go. Crank it back. Perfect. So my preference. It looks like there's way too much of you. I'm gonna so you're far too bent over at the hips. So like I would prefer if your arms were a little bit further away from you. You got we call it hip hinge. You're a little less bent at the hips. Because there's a lot of you kind of over the golf ball. That's number one. Number two, when you actually go to make the swing, and you can take it back a little bit, I'm going to stop you right there. You're going to notice that your trail arm folds way too quickly, and when that happens, the club works too far in behind you, and you're going to have a hard time finding a place to stop at the top. Does that make sense?
It does. And wait, the trail arm, that's my right arm, because I'm a right.
Correct, yeah, the right arm. Yep. So I would love to see if your trail arm was, so your trail arm would be your right arm, and I would love to see if it was a little bit longer and a little straighter for a little bit longer, because it's bending and it's pulling the arms. There you go. And then as you go all the way up to the top, stop it right up at the top, right where it ends. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Good job, Mike. Keep going, Mike.
All right, a little bit.
There it is.
And all right, so bring it back like 2 frames if you can. Is that possible? A couple more.
Yep. There we
Right
go.
there. All right.
Couple more, Mike.
So
Okay.
what you're gonna notice is because the arm folds, you're also gonna start to roll your arms a little bit, and the face is gonna get too open at the top. So your trouble is you say you flip it, right? So the reason you flip it is because your arms are too bent, the face is too
Okay.
open, and and the downswing you go, face is open, I gotta fix it. So what do? You try to
Like,
exactly.
adjust
So
it.
you, mhm.
Oh, ooh, I don't want to do
So
that like
so
anymore. No.
so if I were you, I would
Okay.
practice as much as I can with your arms really straight and just like half swings, and think like old Bryson DeChambeau where his arms feel like they never bent or folded, and just hit like little punch shots, like 60, 70-yard shots max, and just you could take some videos and you'd see how much different it got, and then a little further
Okay.
back and a little further back, and you'd see your arms do something very, very different, and then it would fix your wrists a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, square the face. You wouldn't have to flip and dump it, and yeah, it should get better.
So, like, if we were to look at,
Hmm.
it's a clock, right? 12,
Yep.
6, 9, 3. So from 3 to 9, for
Yep.
my takeaway, my follow through, in between 3 and 9 o'clock,
Yep.
both as straight as
Yeah,
possible is what
it's
you're
gonna feel
saying.
it's gonna feel terrible. For someone that bends it and folds it, like it will
Okay.
fold at some point. It's more of a time and space problem. So you just bend and fold it too soon, which then starts to
Okay.
open the face on you. So if you just go long arms to long arms, it'll force them to be closer together. You ever see like one of those like balls you stick between your arms? It would kind of do the exact same thing. So work a lot on that. That would tidy up probably your pitch shots and like your approach shots a lot. And then learn how to take it back further and still feel the same thing, but that arm will eventually fold. Like no one ever just swings and doesn't fold their arm. You just need to do it later.
Gotcha. All right. Well, it's just this is just so interesting to me because I've had that swing since I was 15, and when I watch like a Rory McIlroy, especially with the driver, I mean, he's a fiend with that driver. When he takes that club back, his arms are like so wide and away from his
Yep.
body.
Yep.
Wow. Let me ask you this: where can we keep up with you? Where and what is your social media? You're on Instagram, obviously, right? You keep posting those videos.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and I'm on YouTube. I should actually know what my socials are. I think I took a little hiatus from YouTube, but I think
Scott.
it's I think it's either like Coach Yurgs or Scott Yurgs Golf. I'm less concerned about that and more concerned if you want to hang out with me, learn a little bit more about golf. You can always just like search me out on PGA's like PGA.coach, and I'd be more than happy to help you a little bit. But yeah, I mean, this has been a fantastic interaction here. I'm excited to help you and everyone else that watches this to play a
Yeah.
little better golf.
I appreciate that, Scott. And before I let you go, I got to ask you one question pertaining to Philadelphia golf courses. What
Mhm.
is your favorite golf course? You could say Philly Cricket, but that's a given.
Yeah, I mean, I love Philly cricket. But if somebody said, "Hey, you could play somewhere every single day," it was the only place you play. It's Marion. That's a special place. It's a great golf course. Um, Philadelphia Cricket Club Wissahickon is awesome. It's just in Marion, just like there's something about it where it's like you step out there. There's some nostalgia.
Mhm.
The course is so hard, and it's like every day. It's not distance difficult. It's just a difficult golf course. The approach shots are hard. The drives are you got to think through it a little bit, and it's just a special spot. Like there's a lot of history there, so it would be really cool to play there every day. But I get to play there like once a year, so I can
Well,
settle for once a year.
well, the one once a year, just let me know. Just send me that text. We have to go play. I'd love to
have you
play with you.
have you been there yet?
I've been invited, just haven't had the chance to make it out there yet, but I'm praying that this will be the season I can go on and do that. Scott, I just want to say seriously, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your
My
instruction, your
pleasure.
sage wisdom, and good luck to you in your next season over at Drexel.
Thank you.
And seriously, yeah. And we know how to get in touch with you. And I'll just say this: keep it pin high, Philadelphia. Scott, thank you for your time. And be sure to tune into this episode with Scott Yurgalevicz. Keep it here, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.